All right, guys, so are you realizing exactly how very expensive it is to feed your family? Food is in no way cheap. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna help you analyze your grocery budget and give you some tips and ideas on how I figured out our grocery budget and how I've been able to keep us pretty good in grocery budget aside from a few dietary changes which required a little tweaking. But we're gonna get some tips and you guys are gonna start saving today. So hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome as well. We are so glad to have you here. So today's video is going to be an easy, simple video on some tips on how to figure out what your grocery budget should be. And first of all, I just want to say I am no money guru expert. I'm just a normal everyday mom who has been through ups, downs, good times, bad times, times when money was good, times when money wasn't so good. So I've kind of been through all of it, and through that I've learned different tips and tricks on how to exactly figure out what our grocery budget should be. And just a little background information. So from, I would say, the last 7 years, I've totally changed my way of grocery shopping, and I do want to say that every year it gets better. You learn new tips throughout the years, and you really get a motivation to find more ways to save once you get on that savings train. So years ago, my method of shopping, and this was even before kids, so more than 7 years, because I used to spend more on groceries with just me and my husband than with me and our 2 kids now. And that is the truth. That is 100% reality, because I would go into the store without even the simplest game plan. And that is just basically planning 2 to 3 meals for your week. My game plan was just going into the store, going through each and every aisle. I would spend way too much time in the store and just kind of picking and choosing off the shelves what I wanted to get. So no game plan of meals, no game plan of like lunches for our work. It was just kind of all open, whatever I wanted. And that kind of mind frame will definitely take you over budget, and not just by a little, but by a lot. So you really want to just take those couple moments and just do a simple game plan of 2 to 3 meals. And the question I get a lot is, how much should I be spending on groceries? So how do I set that grocery budget? Well, there are a lot of different ways to figure it out. There are actually 2 that I've kind of used throughout the years, and one that I'm using now. So I will share them both with you. The first method is figuring $25 per week per person in your household. So we would figure 25 for each of us, which we're a family of 4. We do have a dog, but I did not figure him in because with couponing, I can definitely save a lot of money on dog food and treats and all of his necessities. So we would do $25 a week times 4 of us would be $100 a week for our family, or $400 per month. And a lot of people will say $25 is not a lot. How can you feed someone for $25? But when you think of it, with the 4 of us, $25, $100 can go pretty far. It's in just doing a couple of simple things each week to make it work, and we'll talk about that later. All right, so a lot of the money experts will say that you should be spending around 6% of your income on groceries. So let's just do a fictitious example here. So if you're bringing in $40,000 family income per year, 6% of that, which would be $2,400, would go toward groceries within that year. Now, if you take $2,400 and you divide it by 12 months in a year, that's $200 per month for a family of 4. Now, that is on a tight budget, in my opinion. We've done that before. If you're shopping at stores like Costco and things like that, that is not a realistic budget for you guys. And I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how you can figure out which budget works for you. But if you're looking to save money, whether you need improvements in your home, or you're trying to save for a family trip, or you're just trying to save, you're trying to build some emergency money funds because the bank account is just not looking the way you want to, it's not bad to start with doing that. If it ends up being $200 per month, you're going to have to do a little bit more planning than the other of $25 per person, because you're working with a much tighter amount of money. But I'm telling you, it can be done with some simple planning. All right, so the schedule that we are currently using is more the $25 per person. And then when I went gluten-free, we had to reassess because gluten-free items are just that much more expensive. So I don't have to buy everything gluten-free because I try to incorporate a lot of fruits, vegetables, things like that I can go ahead and eat, and then get the gluten-free items that I may need, as far as a couple of things here and there every time we go to the grocery store. So the first tip that I would give you in finding out what to set as your grocery budget is your specific needs. Now, an example would be, if you have babies and you have formula that you're purchasing and all of that kind of stuff. That costs a lot of money. I can remember when my son was younger and we had to buy Pediasure drinks. Those were so darn expensive, and we would get them at Costco, a case of them, and it was like $30-something. So that was kind of, that's what we considered a big expense. And those are the things that you need, so you can't exclude them from your budget. So figure those in. Rather than doing $25 per person a month, it might average to like $35, or maybe you start with $25 and you find out that it doesn't work. You can always go back and tweak that amount. Now remember, the budget amount that you set should not include fast food eating or eating out on Friday nights. If that's something that your family does, that should come from a separate budget amount, or maybe you might need to rethink it and X that out for a while to get the funds growing. And maybe do, a pizza night at home, homemade pizza that you're getting from the store within your, budget that you've set. It doesn't have to be forever, guys. It could be a temporary thing, and you might actually like it better than going out to eat, because I know recently we've been on a big kind of like, we're not eating out anymore, except for vacation, of course, we had to. But, it's just sometimes the service isn't really good, and then the food isn't that good, and you just think to yourself, I wish I stayed at home anyway. So remember, it could be a temporary thing, but that does not include any, work meals that you're eating out with your coworkers. Those are not included in this budget. So one thing I want you to consider is how many people are exactly in your family and that you're feeding. You may have parents that are living with you. Consider them as well. Make setting your budget a challenge. Now, if you're starting out and you're saying, I can't do $25, I need to do $40. That is completely fine. If you have 4 people in your family, 40 times 4 is $160 per week. So that is what you're gonna say. I'm gonna use $160 for groceries. What I recommend, this is what I do. I like to go weekly grocery shopping now. And let me tell you why, because I like that we see what we have. We don't have so much as we used to. Like the pantry's not as full, the freezer's not as full, because we're eating what we have rather than consistently buying and buying each week. So the stuff in the freezer gets covered with new stuff, and then it gets covered with more new stuff. And before you know it, you forget the stuff that's down here. And by the time you get to it, it's no good. It's expired, it's freezer burned, it's whatever. So sticking on a weekly schedule can seem like a lot of work, right, guys? Because we don't want to go to the grocery store every week, but I think it's a smarter option. And one suggestion is, you can always try a Walmart grocery pickup. You can order online, and then you can pick it up later in the week. So you're not spending that time in store to go ahead and pick all of the groceries, which is really, the time saver there. And the service is free. So I'll link Walmart grocery pickup below if you're interested in checking it out, but I do recommend shopping on a weekly basis. So if you've set that amount at $40 per person per week, and you're at a $160 budget per week, the first week you might realize, hey, I saved I still have 10, 15, $5 left over, whatever you have left over. So take that amount, and what I would do is I would subtract it and try and reach that new goal for the next week. Until you find like a median in your grocery budget where you're like, okay, I can't really save anymore. I can't go any lower, so I'm gonna have to keep it at this amount. So you might have started at 40, and you might find yourself ending at $30 per person. So, that's from 160 to 120. So right there, you've saved $40. And, try and stick with that budget and see how that goes. And over time, you might be able to reduce it as well. The obvious things to do is to, number one, meal plan a couple of meals, shop your sales, use your coupons, use your rebate apps. We all know that, especially couponers. They are very crucial in saving money. And a lot of people will say you're wasting your time. I guarantee you're not wasting your time. Over the years, I've taken my grocery budget and literally chopped it in half, and I'm not kidding. It's not easy to do with electricity, gas, other things that we really can't control. We can control our grocery budget, and you can save a lot of money too. So a great thing to do is to make your grocery budget a challenge. Do everything that you can to make it smaller, smaller, and smaller. And one way of doing that is to make sure that you're eating the foods that you're purchasing and not letting things go to waste. Another thing that you can do is pay cash for your grocery items. If you love to go in store and shop, take cash with you. When you see what you have to spend, you're less likely to go ahead and spend more, because if you have a credit card or if you've got the debit card readily available, we kind of lose track of the budget, and the budget kind of goes up in air and the doors open and there's more availability, and you don't want to spend more. So I recently posted a video on how to save money on groceries. It's going to give you more tips as far as couponing, rebate apps, watching sales, things like that. So I will link that video in the description box and at the end of the video. But to recap on how to set your schedule, remember, you can do it as simple as, setting $25 per person per week, and boom, you can start with that and see if that works for you. Or you can go ahead with the percentage amount. Typically, money-wise, again, the experts, and I'm not the experts, are saying 6% of your yearly income should go to your groceries. So if you take the money that you make per year family-wise as a household, and you get 6% out of that, and then you get that yearly figure and divide it by 12, you're going to get your monthly figure. And like I said, on a family income of $40,000 per year, it was $2,400 a year for groceries, or $200 a month. So that's kind of a tight budget in my opinion. But again, I have confidence in you guys that no matter which way that you choose, or which way that you choose to save, that you guys can do it. Remember, saving money is like starting a diet or anything that you do. It comes from within, and the more that you put into it, the more that you're going to get out of it. So if you take it seriously and you take it step by step, don't expect these amazing, results within a week or two. It takes time, but if you're consistently working at it as a family and trying to make it work, you guys can definitely accomplish anything. So check out that other how to save money on groceries video. And guys, I love doing these videos, so I will be sharing a lot more of them on my channel. So if you're enjoying them, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join me along the way. So thanks to all of you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.